Thank you guys for your time to join the webinar. Uh, Today, we're actually going to talk about our high availability solution, or you can probably call this is going to be the redundancy solution on the Yeastar PBX. We actually got a built-in feature. It's called hot standby uh, without license. So you can simply just jump into your system, go for the hot standby feature, and this feature is exactly the answer for the redundancy solution. All right, so let's check this out. First off, I'll say as usual, I'm going to talk about some basic introduction about this high availability solution on our PBX. I mean, we just need to figure out exactly who will be the target customers when we try to introduce the customized solution for them, right? Generally speaking, guys, for micro business users, I mean, for Soho business users or for some small business users, it's not so necessary for you to talk about the hot standby to them because I mean, think about it. If this is going to be a small business users, they're not going to use the hot standby for redundancy, not necessary for them. But for some other customers, someone like this, like government users or public service, or maybe you got a project for bank or financial organization, or maybe for some big enterprise users, or even for some, solutions for university campus. Anyway, so for those guys, this is exactly a very necessary solution, very important actually for them, because for those guys, definitely they're looking for a platform for telephony solution. That's absolutely the most important part for them for telecommunication. But besides that, they're also looking for. I mean, they're also expecting for this solution has a very good stability. So it is the time for us to introduce the redundancy solution to those guys. All right. So talking about the redundancy solution, I guess people actually they care about a few points very important for them. I mean, of course, we can provide them the redundancy solution. That's pretty cool. That's very good. But when you try to introduce the solution to them, they actually start thinking about, is that possible for me to have a few important features? I get a few important requirements. I want to make sure this solution can totally help me to figure this out. So I guess generally speaking, three major points they might probably care about the most. The first one will be, like I said here, telephony system must be normal. So which basically means it doesn't matter what kind of solution you're going to provide it to me for redundancy, for high availability. I don't care about that. I just care about if there's something wrong happened on my primary system. When the secondary system takes over of everything, the telephony system must be normal. I mean, all of my call features should be okay, same as Euro. That's exactly what they care about. And the second point will be, service center must be available. For those type of customers, mostly they're going to have a service center because they have lots of incoming calls from the customer side. So definitely they have a service center. They just want to make sure uh, it doesn't matter you have a primary system or secondary system, well, whatever method you're going to take for the high availability, for the redundancy. Anyway, I just want to make sure if there's something happen on my system, then I have a service center, like a call center, like a service center. Anyway, I just want to make sure all of my agents will be, still be available for providing the service to my customers, to my clients. Anyway, this is the second point, and the third one will be important data. I have lots of data, kept on the the old system, the primer system, whatever you call it. But now, if there's something wrong happen on the system, so totally you will have a backup solution. That's why you call it the redundancy. I don't care. I just care about the important data must be safe. You can't give me a solution for synchronization or backup. Anyway, I want to make sure those data will be safe. So I guess these are three major, factors our customers they might probably care about the most. Okay, so our solution is actually available on the Yeastar system. This is exactly my topic for today's webinar. So it doesn't matter, you're gonna use the S412 or S300. Anyway, all of our models, the on-premise system models, they will be available to have this feature. So it doesn't matter which model you choose from Yeastar, all of them can support this feature, the hot standby. It's a built-in feature, like I said. We don't charge you a license. You jump into the system, you're just ready to go with that. All right. Now let's check this out. So exactly how do we make the feature work? It's actually pretty simple. Our hot standby feature, when you try to make it work for, redundancy, the high availability is pretty simple. Let's check this out. The whole solution can be simplified by this topology. For example, I get a office right now. I just deploy one S300 as the primary system, and like I said, this is going to be a solution for those specific users, those specific type of customers. They do care about the stability, so they just want to know if that possible for me to have a redundancy solution. Now, absolutely, we support it. So the solution is you're going to take 2 units of the Yeastar S-Series PBX. For example, you are choosing S300 as your telephony system. Now, our solution is you're going to take another unit of the S300. Be careful, guys. This is very important. So when you try to equip the Yeastar PBX for redundancy, you have to make sure you got a primary system and a secondary system, and they both are the same model. That's very important. This is step one. And step two, you're going to deploy 2 systems in your local network directly, like this. And actually, you're not going to use the specific IP address of each one of them. You're not going to do that. I mean, as we know, normally when we try to equip the S-Series PBX in our office, we have lots of IP phones. We have some soft phone solution like our Yeastar Linkus, right? So those devices, we're totally going to register them on our PBX directly. That's what we did before, right? We're going to register our IP phones on the S-Series PBX with that specific IP address, the private IP address you configured on your PBX. But when you try to deploy this hot standby feature, this redundancy solution, actually, you're not going to register your IP phones on the very specific private IP address there. Instead, you're going to configure a virtual IP for both of your primary system and the secondary system. So normally, if there's nothing wrong happen on the primary system, totally you're going to work with the primary system for the whole solution. That's fine. And by the way, you guys can see I put an animation here. The circle is just spinning and spinning. Actually, I'm just trying to tell you guys this is the data synchronization. So normally the primary system gonna takes over of everything, and the data will be synchronized from the primary system to the secondary system automatically because they're deploying the same local network. And if there's something wrong happen, let's say I got something wrong with my primary system, now it is out of the service, it's okay. There's a automatic detection mechanism between the secondary system and the primary system. So the secondary system can automatically figure this out. Oh, currently we got something wrong happened on the primary system. It is out of service now, but it's okay. I'm going to take over of everything. So the secondary system going to take over of your whole telephony system. So you don't have to worry about the call features, the service center. Anyway, all of your IP phones are going to be work as normal because they're not going to register on a specific IP address of the PBX. Instead, for the auto provisioning, the phone registration, the auto provisioning, the server address will be this virtual IP, and this virtual IP is bound with both of your primary system and the secondary system. So that's exactly how we make it work. And as for the data security, you don't have to worry about it. Like I said, it has been synchronized on the secondary system all the time. It's a real-time synchronization. Okay, so this is a general image about this solution. Now let's keep going for more details. So more details about this solution. Actually, we got a few conditions when you try to deploy, 2 systems in your local area network for the high availability or redundancy. A few conditions. The first one, very important. Like I said, at least you have to make sure you got 2 same models, right? That's very important. Just like I said, you can't take an S300 with an S100 for the redundancy solution. It doesn't support. All right, you have to make sure 2 systems are the same model. S300 with S300, S100 with the S100. All right, and also these 2 systems should be deployed. They're supposed to be deployed in the same local area network without VPN. All right, be careful. Just the simple local area network environment. That's it. All right, and also you guys will need a reserved IP address. I call this as a reserved IP address because it depends on you. This IP address can be any IP address. You just make sure you have available IP address. All right, keep it there because you're going to use this IP address to work as the virtual IP. Okay. And the next one, the point three, I actually just told you guys, same product model. Okay. And the next one, number four, exact the same firmware and hardware version. Well, that's very important because some customers they are not so clear about this. They probably take two S300 with two different firmwares. Well, you still can't make it work. So you have to upgrade your system. All right, make sure they have the same firmware version and even for the hardware version. Then they can put them together in the local network for this redundancy. Okay. Next one, the software configuration. This is pretty simple. You know, when you try to make the redundancy solution work, definitely you're going to make sure they both have the same configuration. You create an IVR here, you're going to create an IVR there, right? This is very important. And the next one, people, mostly people they might probably ignore about this, but this is very important. The expansion boards or modules installation. Okay, you know the S series PBX is modular designed, so which basically means if you prefer, you can use our Yeastar modules or expansion boards. You can make a customization. You can have a custom solution. I mean the hard for the hardware part, right? So when you try to deploy the redundancy solution in your office, make sure both of your systems, the primary system and the secondary system, they both have the same installation, hardware installation, even the module, guys. For example, if I fix the FXS module on the primary system, on the slot one of the expansion one, so I'm going to do the same thing on the secondary system. I can't fix this FXS module on the slot two or slot three. It doesn't work. I have to make sure they have the same hardware installation. All right. And the last point, it's optional. Some customers, they might probably use analog phones or some, analog channels, ISDN channels, anyway, in their office. So normally, I mean, if you don't have a hot standby solution, you don't have this redundancy solution in your office, that's fine. You can just plug and play, right? Our system, we can support those modules. We can support, module. Oh, we can support the ISDN channel. We can support analog phones. Anyway, you can plug and play. But if you're trying to deploy the redundancy solution in your office, you're not going to do the plug and play solution, okay? Because it doesn't work. I mean, think about it. If you connect your analog phones on the primary system, now what if your primary system is out of the service? Well, definitely your analog phones, they're not going to work. You have to unplug it, you have to replug it on the secondary system, then you have to reconfigure it again. So you're not going to do that. So all of our physical connection solutions, I mean your analog channels, your ISDN channels, or even IP the analog phones, we're not going to use plug and play with our PBX. We're going to take our Yeastar gateways. So just don't forget to take gateways if you have something like that. As for gateway, that's pretty simple. We can just use our gateway, figure out the interconnection with our PBX, but we're not going to, create the connection with the PBX specific IP address directly. Instead, we're going to use this virtual IP. That's it. Now, as for other devices, a bunch of IP phones or even Linkus PC client or Linkus mobile client, all of those, terminals registration, like I said, they're going to register on this virtual IP. So the virtual IP is way more important. All right, now let's check the configuration. Okay, so about the configuration, we got a few steps. It's pretty simple, very user-friendly, honestly, guys. If you're familiar with the Yeastar system, you jump into the system, simply just click on a mouse, you can figure this out. Not a big deal. So step one, I call this as confirmation, which means step one, there's nothing you're gonna do there. You just simply jump into your system, click on resource monitor. This is gonna be the step one. A few information you need to confirm here. Okay, a few parameters. The first one will be the product models. Make sure, for example, I'll get a screenshot here. Make sure they're actually the same models. All right. And the second step will be the hardware version and firmware version. Make sure they have the same hardware version and firmware version. Then you can start your configuration now. So step 2, we're going to, click on the network setting. This is going to be step 2, pretty simple. Just go for the network setting, click on basic settings. That's very simple, very easy. Like I said at the very beginning, guys, if you're trying to deploy two systems for hot standby for redundancy, just make sure there is no VPN environment. Okay, like I said, the hot standby feature, it doesn't work under the VPN network. So make sure this is just a simple local network environment. That's enough. That's okay. And another tips, guys, hot standby only works for LAN port. I just mark it here. It only works for LAN port. Okay, so if your network mode is dual mode, so set the default interface to LAN port. All right. So I mean, if your network mode here is single mode or bridge mode, it doesn't matter because you only have one available port, which is your LAN port. So that totally works. But if you change the mode to dual mode, then just don't forget to set the default port, default interface to LAN port. All right. Okay. So you guys can take a look at this. I got a screenshot on both of my primary system and the secondary system. They have different IP address, right? They have different IP addresses. So on the primary system, the IP address is 192.168.6.36. The other one is 6.210. Okay, two different IP address. But when you try to use the redundancy solution for phone registration, for gateway connection, you're not going to use any of them, the IP address. You're actually going to use the virtual IP, which is this one. Check this out. So the third step we're going to do is we're going to enable the primary system. So you can simply just go for the first one, the first PBX, whose IP address is 6.30, I guess is 36. Okay. Then we simply just enable hot standby, and the mode we're going to select it as the primary system. All right. So we're definitely going to put the secondary system information here, the secondary server information. So just don't forget to name your PBX. Another important thing, guys. Let's get back here. So on the previous page, you guys can see here on my primary system, I just name it as IPPBX-A. The secondary system, I'm going to call this as IPPBX-B. This is also very important because when you enable the hot standby feature, you're going to type in the secondary server name, which is IPPBX-B, with the specific IP address, 6.210. And the access code, it depends on you. You can set access code here for both of your primary system and the secondary system. That's just optional. I mean, that's flexible. You can create anything, whatever you want. And the virtual IP address. I mentioned before, right? So you got a reserved IP, then you can just put that IP address here. So just put your virtual IP address here. I'm sorry, guys, I made a mistake. I just typed it wrong, 6.210. That's a wrong IP address. Actually, I'm going to use something else. But just make sure you have a reserved IP address. Put it here. Okay. The next step, you're going to jump into your secondary system. So you're going to do something similar. And here, the primary server name, don't forget to put it here, the primary server IP address, which is 6.36. I think I made a mistake here. Anyway, you put it here. And also you got a virtual IP address, drop it here. Okay, so this is going to be step 4. Now, probably you guys may have a question about this advanced settings. We have keep alive and dead time and disk synchronization. So what exactly is this? First of all, the keep alive actually by default setting is 2 seconds. It actually means every 2 seconds, the primary system gonna send a detection packet to the the secondary system gonna send a detection packets to the primary system to check whether you're alive or not. That's it. And the dead time actually means, when the primary system get this package, definitely the primary system gonna send it back. So for that duration, the dead time, we set it here. By default setting is 120 seconds. It actually means maximally we're gonna wait for 120 seconds until you send me back the feedback packets. If you never send back any feedback packets, over this 120 seconds, well, I'm gonna treat you as the dead system. So I will just take over. The secondary system will takes over. Okay, so here's the tips. Just make sure your dead time is longer than the server rebooting time. Some people, they might probably change this dead time. So I guess you can just keep the default setting here, 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes. That's okay because this is totally longer than the server rebooting time. If you change 120 seconds to 100 seconds, 90 seconds, you might probably get something wrong because when you try to reboot your system, our system will take about, I guess, 120 seconds for rebooting. And if your dead time is shorter than the rebooting time, totally, your secondary system will just take over automatically. Okay, so here's a few things very important. Let's check this out. The first one, the extension status and trunk states are invisible in the secondary PBX. So which basically means, when the primary system is working normally right now, and you want to figure out the working status of your extension, of your trunk, you can only check it on the primary system. You can't not check it on the secondary system. Okay. And also the password setting is also synchronized. So I mean the super administrator's password. So if you change the password on the primary system, well, it will also be synced on the secondary system as well. And also the next one, if you want to upgrade the PBX firmware, you have to disable the hot standby feature first. Otherwise, you cannot. So if you want to upgrade the system, both of your primary system and the secondary system, just disable this hot standby, then upgrade the system, for both of your primary and the secondary. Okay, now let's keep going. Another thing we can make use of our PBX, another important feature which will be very functional, it's going to be Event Center. So why? Probably just want to know why. Event Center, there's nothing special here. But actually, Event Center, there's one option available for you to enable, which is the notification of the hot standby. So the hot standby basically means if there's something wrong happened on the primary system, the secondary system going to take over, right? So if something happened like that, totally the contact person will be able to get notified by the system. So you can just go back to the event center there, and you can enable the notification. We can actually notify the contacts by calling the mobile, calling the extension, send short messages, or send email. Very flexible, many different solutions are available here, many options. This configuration is pretty easy, guys. Not a big deal. You can just go for Event Center, Event Settings, then we can enable the notification for hot standby failover action. Okay, then add a new contact. That's it. So just add a new contact. This contact can be an internal extension or external extension. Whatever, both are okay. And just don't forget to drop the specific contacts here so they will be able to get notified. And maximally, we can create 4 notification contacts. Just keep that in your mind. Okay. Now let's keep going. So generally speaking, I guess the advantages of our hot standby solution, I think a few points will be very important, a few highlights here. The first one is this is a budget control solution. You know what? Especially for our customers, because our customers who are using S-Series PBX, mostly they're going to be the small and medium-sized enterprise users. So they do care about the budget control. They just want to have a budget control solution. They want to have lots of advanced features for providing them a very reliable and stable system. But just like I said, they do care about how much money are they going to spend on this platform, on this solution. So I guess this is a pretty good budget control solution. Like I said, it's a built-in feature without license charge. It's just ready to go. You simply purchase 2 devices, put them in the local network. You're just ready to go with this hot standby solution. The redundancy solution. And also, this is very easy for configuration. Like I showed you guys a few screenshots before, and in the when you jump into the system, the actual system, it's something similar. Nothing special for the configuration. Very easy, very simple. So like I said, low technical threshold. Anyone can figure this out if you just, take a few minutes, check on the tutorial, then you know how to figure this out. It's very easy. And also this is very functional, guys. Because the primary system and the secondary system, they have the working mechanism. It's automatic detection mechanism. So once you enable the hot standby, you don't have to worry about the stability. If there's something really happen, if there's something bad really happen on the primary system, just go ahead with that. The secondary system gonna takes over everything. And by the way, you also get notifications, so you can simply just remove your primary system and just repair the system, fix it. Then you can put it back. And also we can support data synchronization. So some people they worry about important data, it will be synchronized totally. And the last one will be notification, like I said. So the contacts will get notified if there's something happen. Okay. By the way, about the data synchronization, I guess you guys may probably ask a few questions like, what kind of data can we synchronize? Can we have a recording, the PBX logs? Anyway, I just put everything here. First of all of your PBX features, I mean your features configurations like IVR, like your call queue, your ring group, all these will be synchronized totally. And also your PBX settings. If you make some changes, it will be synchronized as well. Like I just create a bunch of extensions on the primary system, it will be synchronized on the secondary system as well. So you don't have to create a bunch of extensions again. You can just keep it alive. All of your IP phones will be moved from the primary system to the secondary system automatically. And even for system settings, like you change some, date and time, system prompt, anyway, it will also be synchronized. Besides the recordings, no matter this is for one-touch recording or for auto recording, they both are going to be synchronized. And also the auto provisioning, that's very important because all of your terminal devices, all of your IP phones are going to be registered by auto provisioning in the local area. In the local network, right? So totally people, they just care about this. I mean, if I'm going to use S300, let's say I'm going to use 300 extensions. I don't want to create extensions again. I don't want to register those extensions again. So don't worry about that. Auto provisioning will also be synced. And PBX logs. So for troubleshooting, for maintenance, the logs will also be synced as well. Okay. So generally speaking, guys, the conclusion for the hot standby, I guess this is the easiest way for backup for your redundancy on our Yeastar system. And actually, this solution will be available on all of our on-premise models, not just S-Series PBX. You know, the S-Series PBX, we have 5 models. S412, S20, S50, S100, and S300. Besides, we have another platform which is designed for 2,000 users. It's called K2. So K2 can also support this. So all of our Yeastar on-premise solution can support this hot standby feature. Like I said, without license fee, you just deploy the system in your local network. You're just ready to go with that. Okay. So as for highlights, as for advantages, I guess I just mentioned before. So totally you can enhance your reliability. You will be able to have a very stable system. Data will be secured and it's very easy for configuration. You will also be able to get notified, no additional cost, like I said, and it's going to be quick recovery. Just like I showed you guys before, by default setting, it's 2 seconds. The secondary system gonna send the detection packets to the primary system. So it's very reliable solution. It's a very budget control solution as well. All right, guys, I guess that was all I have for today's webinar. Keep it be a little bit tight, but hopefully everything will be clear, will be informative for you guys. If you want to know more details about this solution or you want to check the video tutorial, just go ahead, subscribe our Yeastar YouTube channel. All the video tutorials is going to be available on our YouTube channel, and you guys can also visit Yeastar website. All right, and for more details, you guys can also contact our local distributor, Straight Wave.